With each lap our spirits flight, racing on with all our might. All might. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rumble here from the beautiful Kentucky Motor Speedway. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a great race. Here is our sixth playoff race of the HCK Beagles Michael's Warrior Project Truck Series here this afternoon. Drivers out there on the racetrack, they're laying down their quick times, trying to make sure that they can start up towards the front of the field, especially for some of the competitors that know that they have to race here tonight for their final attempt to try to make it in to the final stage of our playoffs here this afternoon. There is a tight points battle as 10 drivers go to battle here this afternoon for those final 5 championship positions, and there's a lot of line. There's a lot of drivers that are going to be very, very close into this fight here. So Robert Blair, currently right now, he's only got a handful of points above that 5th and final transfer position. And then we got a 3-way tie for that 5th spot right now. Brandon Deming, Jason LePan, and Nathan Nixon are all tied right now with those 56 points going into this race. So our 5th, 6th, and 7th place driver in this championship hunt are all in the battle right now, tied going into this race. And there's a lot on the line, and not too far behind them we do see Jeremy Lucy. Lucy's about 6 points back of all 3 of those competitors, so if they run into problems, if they start having issues, and that number 76 rider Jeremy Lucy can jump up there and start putting down some good lap times, maybe pick up a big win here this afternoon while the other drivers struggle, could leapfrog both of them. Or we could see drivers like Robert Blair run into problems, could potentially miss out if something happens to Nick Gardner. He's only about 14 points ahead of that cutoff line, so if a quick caution flag, a quick couple incidents there for the 16 truck, you could be in a lot of trouble in a quick hurry as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what these drivers can do and how they're going to have to navigate around this beautiful 1.5-mile speedway here for 140 laps of racing action until we see that checkered flag fly. It's going to be up in the air to see who gets that 5th and final transfer position and who our top 5 in the championship hunt will be, and who will advance forward and be able to go to battle next week and the week after for that championship here, with season number 6 quickly coming to a close here in the Michael's Warrior Project Truck Series. We do have season 7 right around the corner, so if you are looking to get in on the action, if you want to get in on the fun and become one of the drivers out there on the racetrack and trying to battle for our championship in season 7, right now is the time to get into the sim. Now is the time to get loaded up and try to work your way and race your way as a driver here in the HCK Beagles Truck Series, as season 7 right around the corner. We'll get ready to rock and roll just a short time after season 6 gets wrapped up. And for any of our amazing viewers, if you want a sponsor, or you know a sponsor that would be interested in becoming a part of the HCK Beagles family here and become part of the sponsorship program, make sure you guys get a hold of either myself, join the Discord and message with some of the guys, or get a hold of Gregory Turner, Kevin Winker, or any of those other amazing admins on what they got to offer and what amazing things these sponsorship deals come with here with the HCK Beagles. As we'll get ready to rumble, we'll get ready to roll out there onto the speedway, as we're going to get ready to go green flag racing here. Starting on the pole in the 45 ride, that is Chris Gilbert. Nicholas Snyder there to his outside. Kevin Winker, Jacob Crew there in row number 2 with Robert Blair, Jeremy Lucy, Brandon Deming, Daniel Dow, Nathan Nixon, and Nick Gardner rounding out our top 10. Ryan Peterson, Edward Koschersberger, John Herbert, Brian Chu, Kyle Van Tassel, Jason LePan, Frank Ranger Jr. will bring up the rear of the field here as unfortunately Neil Lampin is going to have to start down pit side. Neil unfortunately not loading up and joining us for the start of this race, so he'll start from pit road and get rocking and rolling. Unfortunately, that'll put him behind the ball in a quick hurry. As out in front, seeing that green flag fly and leading us down the back straightaway for the first time here this afternoon. It is Chris Gilbert. Gilbert out in front, trying to keep that truck right there in the good stuff down on the bottom side of corner number 3 and 4, and down across the line. It's the 45 ride of Chris Gilbert who will lead lap number 1. So Gilbert out in front, Nicholas Snyder right there in position number 2. You now see a couple trucks starting to roll that middle groove here. We'll have to see what they can do throughout this race as the driving line's going to continue to differ here. We're going to see different drivers trying to keep their trucks right down on that yellow line, trying to roll that inside berm. Other drivers might start to move up a little bit more, see if they can try to carry that momentum, make some moves, and try to race their way up towards the front of the field. But is that going to be worse on their tires? That is going to be the big question. Holding that inside lane may burn up your stuff a little bit quicker. That's why a lot of drivers will start to move up the racetrack here at Kentucky Speedway. So we'll have to wait and see what they can do as you do see that 2 ride. He's trying to work his way towards the front of the field. That is Daniel down, already up and into position number 4. Right there behind him is his Anything EC Sparkle and Shine teammate, that 33 rider Nathan Nixon. He's up 5 spots already in this race. Went from 10th up and into the top 5 here in those opening laps, and sitting there in position number 5 and already looking to try to follow his teammate in that 2 truck right around the outside here of the 57 of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder trying to hold on to position number 4, but that 33 ride, he wants that 4th position. He wants to go into position number 4, and he's going to be looking for more out there on the racetrack. Is Brandon Domingue there in 7th, trying to hunt down this 16 rider Nick Gardner. As Gardner just getting around that 77 ride as Jacob Grube slides back now, down 5 positions quickly in this race. Grube finds himself back there at 8th with Jeremy Lucy and Robert Blair rounding him our top 10. Ryan Peterson currently there in the 11th position. The Ridge Powersports HCK Beagles, that KR Gutters machine there in position number 11 with Jason LePan trying to get to his back bumper here as LePan goes around that Ridge Powersports teammate of Ryan Peterson. That is the 87th John Herbert. Herbert will slide back into that 13th position as now you see LePan quickly underneath of that 469, try to pick up another spot on the racetrack, continue to try to march his way up towards the front of the field. Is LePan one of those drivers that is battling here this afternoon for that final 5th position in our playoffs here, trying to work his way into that championship 5, ready to try to battle for the season 6 championship here with the HCK Beagles and the Michaels Warrior Project Truck Series. As out in front, Chris Gilbert. Gilbert continues to lead the way. Kevin Winker, K-Dub, right there behind him in position number 2 is the Muleburger. Custom Homes ride rolls there in that 2nd position. I do see Albert Anderson coming in, showing the love as well over there on YouTube. Says, looking forward to a great race. Hashtag Winker Nation. He's looking to see that 42 right up at the front of the field, looking for that 42 to take this race lead as Albert coming in, showing his love there for the Winker Nation here this afternoon. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like button for me. Hit that like button right now. Show the love here this afternoon. Hit the like button. Hit that share button if you're feeling courteous. And make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Become part of the Peacemaker family today and turn those bell notifications on. That way you never miss it when I go live here on Peacemaker Gaming. As out in front, Chris Gilbert trying to hold on to this race lead. Kevin Winker sticking right there to his back bumper. They got about a 1.5 seconds now between themselves and our 3rd place driver, the 2-rider Daniel Dow. Down back here in 3rd, but starting to lose a little bit of distance here to our race leaders. As Nicholas Snyder still battling door-to-door here with Nathan Nixon for that 4th position. That 57 rider, the Hendrick racecars.com machine. He continues to work that inside lane and not letting these drivers run away as he trying to keep himself out of trouble as he battles and looking to try to lock himself into that championship 5. Came into tonight's race as our championship leader. A little farther back behind him is Jacob Groob. Groob sitting pretty right now, about 20 points or so between himself and that 4th place in the championship. So he's got some good distance here. He's got some good spacing between himself and those drivers that are battling for that 5th and final transfer spot here into our final 5 for the championship. It's Uncle Bot. What's good, Uncle Bot? Uncle Bot coming in, showing the love with the like on the stream. How are you, brother? Coming in, smashing that like button over there on the Facebook stream, showing the love here this afternoon as we're already double digits into this race. We're already 11 laps down, lap number 12 up and onto the board, and those 2 drivers out in front, Kevin Winker and Chris Gilbert, continue to try to pull themselves away from the rest of the field. Gilbert out in front here, less than a 1/10 of a second between himself and Kevin Winker, about a truck length between our top 2 competitors. A little farther back, you do see that number 2 machine of Daniel Dow down back there in that 3rd position, still trying to hunt them down as you do see that 57 of Nicholas Snyder starting to build up that speed once again. He's finally re-cleared that 33 of Nathan Nixon, now going back after this 2 truck, trying to slide back into position number 3. We'll have to wait and see if he can try to hunt down our race leaders here, maybe trying to be a little bit more easy on that gas pedal to start this race, maybe trying to save those tires here for a little bit longer of a run as Snyder starting to put the pressure onto the back bumper of that 2 ride. Nathan Nixon starting to feel the pressure here as he's got Nick Gardner down to his inside. Brandon DeMing, Jeremy Lucy right there as well, looking to try to roll their way up towards the front of the field. The 18 machine, the beautiful Michaels Warrior Project, number 18 of Jacob Groob, our second in the championship points here coming into this afternoon. Quickly fell from the 3rd starting position all the way back to position number 10. Groob just inside that top 10 right now, down 7 spots, and looking to just try to keep the rest of these drivers back there at bay. If that truck isn't handling right, he wants to see a caution flag or a trip down pit side so we can try to get some changes done to it. Try to work on that setup just ever so slightly and hope that that truck comes alive here later in this race where he can start to work his way back up towards the front as he's got John Herbert and his teammate Jason LePan right there on his back bumper. Brian Chu back in 13th with Ryan Peterson there in 14th, and we see Kyle Van Tassel, Edward Koshersberger, Frank Ranger Jr. back there in that Ranger Creative Concepts, and number 17, Ryan Neil Lapidus back in position number 18. Unfortunately for Neil, that mistake down pit side here, obviously at the start of this race, did not get to start with everybody else under control and under speed. He had to roll down pit side, finally got up to speed and everything else down the back straightaway. Unfortunately, he is the first driver 1 lap down here as the OSOC Outdoors Duncom number 26 finds himself back in the 18th position, and I know he wants a little bit more. Neil had a great run last week. He's hoping to try to back that up here in Kentucky, and right now off to a tough start on the afternoon. We'll see if he can try to rebound, get that lap back, and try to continue to battle up towards the front of the field as Frank Ranger Jr. just there in front of him as our 17th place driver and the last driver on the lead lap, and he finds himself already 9 seconds behind our race leaders. Here we go, Chris Gilbert continuing to lead the way. Gilbert now has quite a commanding lead between himself and Kevin Winker. Winker back about a second and a bit now between himself and that number 45 truck, and feeling the pressure now is Nicholas Snyder starting to come up here. Snyder now trying to get back around this 42 of Kevin Winker for position number 2 on the racetrack, and 42 goes up the speedway, the 57 down low, still hugging that inside lane, and looks like he will take that spot away from K-Dub down the front straightaway. So Nicholas Snyder back up into position number 2 here, starting to march his way back up towards the front of the field, but as he was battling there with K-Dub, it allowed Chris Gilbert to open up that race lead even more. Gilbert out in front by about 1.8 seconds now. 1.8 seconds the difference between first and second, and that lead is trying to grow more and more and more as Chris Gilbert now sees Snyder putting the pedal to the metal, trying to hunt him down, and he wanted to try to run away with this one. As Snyder there in second, we now see Daniel Dow and Nick Gardner both getting around Kevin Winker. Winker still in trouble here as now he'll slide down and behind Brandon Domingue. There goes Jeremy Lucy down to his inside, and K-Dub going from second here in a quick hurry back into the 7th position as the Team America Muleburger Custom Homes ride really starting to struggle now after about a solid 15, 18 lap run. That truck is starting to fall off here. Maybe a little bit too hard on the tires early in this race. And now starting to feel those tires fade away from that 42, as the tires start to fade away here. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see how long these drivers are really to stay under control, keep their tires, good shape, and keep that momentum and speed up here around the racetrack. As obviously quickly early in this race, the 42 feeling that pain and sliding backwards in a quick hurry. So we get the Monster Energy drink into us here to keep us alive and alert here this afternoon. Shout out to Monster Energy for keeping us liquidated up here in the broadcast booth, as we're always keeping ourselves fresh and locked in here with the Monster Energy. As out in front, continuing to lead the way, is that 45 rider Chris Gilbert. Gilbert really hasn't given up too much time to Nicholas Snyder since Snyder has gotten around and cleared that 42 of Kevin Winker. So we'll have to wait and see if he can continue to try to hunt down that 45 ride, as they opened up a pretty decent lead quickly here in this feature event. But after about that 20 lap run or so, we saw that 57 really start to come alive, really start to make the moves back up through that top 5. Now sits in position number 2. You gotta wonder, how quickly he's working his equipment now this point in the race, and potentially who may be still holding back a little bit deeper in the field, maybe trying to save their equipment even longer and trying to stretch out this tire run there for their race trucks. A driver like Jacob Grube, who started up in position number 2, quickly fell back, actually started in the 3rd position, quickly fell back into about the 10th spot on the speedway, has now gained a couple more positions here as Nathan Nixon and Kevin Winker sliding backwards there on the racetrack. He's starting to work himself back into the picture here as Grube now trying to look underneath the Robert Blair here, just letting this race kind of come to him, letting these tires do all the work, making sure you just stay consistent. These drivers, they've got a lot of laps in, they've done a lot of practicing, they kind of know when these tires are, really good to utilize, and they know it's not early in these runs. They know that if you go too hard too quickly, you're going to pay the price on the bottom half of these races. And unfortunately for some of those drivers, you got to see it there firsthand on how quickly you can slide outside the top 10 out there on the racetrack. When you look at a driver like Kevin Winker, who's now not even inside the top 10, now all the way back in that 12th position and continuing to fall back farther, as now he's got Ryan Peterson right there trying to work underneath of that 42 ride. But drivers like Chris Gilbert, Nicholas Snyder, they're really good at saving those tires, really good at trying to keep up the speed at the same time as saving the tires. And right now, sitting 1 and 2 on the speedway, Snyder has picked up a lot of wins at these mile-and-a-half racetracks. He's shown that he's got the speed and the knowledge to be able to get it done here at these style of speedways. Same with Chris Gilbert. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two will continue to battle throughout this evening, and if there's going to be any other surprising drivers or just drivers that are going to be able to hit the strategy, hit the teamwork or anything else perfectly here this afternoon to put themselves into a position to battle for this win as well. As you do see Nick Gardner up and into 3rd, Jeremy Lucy now underneath of that 2 rider Daniel Dow looking to try to jump into position number 4, as Lucy right there to his inside, and they're starting to try to reel back in that 16 truck, and Nick Gardner is Brandon Domingue right there in the fight. You do see the 18 of Jacob Grube now in there, as well as Grube into the 7th position here on the speedway. Robert Blair back into the 8th position with Nathan Nixon and Jason LePan rounding out our top 10 as Brian Chu, Ryan Peterson, Kevin Winker back there in the 13th position. Edward Gossersberger back there in the 14th spot with Jonathan Herbert, Kyle Van Tassel, Frank Ranger Jr., and Neil Lapidus bringing up the rear of the field here as Lapidus still that first driver, 1 lap down. He's hoping to see a quick caution flag here, hoping to try to get that lap back into the lead lap battle here on the speedway as the 26 unfortunately missed the start of this feature event. He had to start from down on pit road, and hence he had to do that. Unfortunately, went a lap down quickly in this race and just trying to battle back through it. And if he starts to see green flag pit stops, then this race can potentially go clean and green throughout the evening. That could be big bad news for that 26. The more drivers that go laps down in front of him, potentially taking away his lucky dog opportunity and potentially keeping him trapped back here a lap down throughout this race. Or if he goes multiple laps down, it's just going to get tougher and tougher and tougher for this 26 throughout the evening. Is out in front, Chris Gilbert continues to lead the way, but you do see Nicholas Snyder starting to close that gap, starting to reel him in here as my boy Neil Lapidus. Neil coming in with 100-bit dono. What in the world? Mr. Lapidus coming in, setting it off, brother. I appreciate that, coming in with 100 biddies here this afternoon. Neil, what in the world, brother? Neil Lapidus coming in, well driving here, okay? Neil, I appreciate it, brother, but be safe out there, okay? No dropping biddies and driving at the same time. No, I'm just kidding. You do you, brother. You do you. As Lapidus back there at the rear of the field, but still coming in, showing the big love here in this one. I appreciate that, my boy. As Neil says, texting and driving is a no-no, but what about donating and driving? Listen, brother, listen. I appreciate it, but as long as you keep that truck in one piece, as long as you're not a Dennis the Menace out there on the speedway, you know what? I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I won't stop you. I can't stop you, but I advise you that you know, just be careful out there, brother. Just be careful out there. You know, we're watching you. We're keeping an eye on you out there, man. I know you're watching. I know you want to get up here and battle on this lead lap. I know you're kind of stuck in that, you know, that tough spot right now, but you got to keep that chin up, man. You're in a tough spot last week. You were able to battle back from that and finish off with a great finish, and you know, maybe the same thing can happen again here tonight, man. We want to see this 26 back up inside the top 10, back up towards the front of the field, leading laps out there on the racetrack. So I know you can get it done. I know you can get it done for certain, brother. But I do appreciate the 100 biddies here this afternoon, and some great racing action. There's a lot of storylines on the move. Things are very fluid as we quickly close in towards that 40 laps into this race, and we got to be getting closer and closer to green flag pit stops out there. We got to be getting very close to seeing these drivers wanting to start to dip down pit side, looking to try to get those fresher tires, looking to try to figure something out to see if they can work themselves quicker towards the front of the field, as the lap times have already dropped off here. A lot of drivers, you know, early in this race running, you know, the 31-second area. A few drivers running into the 30-second bracket here, but a lot of drivers right around that 31.0s, 31.1 second areas in the fall off is already dwindled up to about 32 seconds, almost going towards 33 seconds for some drivers here for average lap time. So drivers are about a second and a half, 2 seconds slower than what they were early in this feature event. So definitely see that patience is starting to run out, especially now that we start to see some of these drivers head down pit side. Here comes Robert Blair. Blair going to be the first driver to head down pit side. He's got Daniel Dow right there with him. Nathan Nixon also headed down pit side, and the 87 of John Herbert. So some drivers starting to make those green flag pit stops. We'll see the 51 rider Brian Chu down pit road as well. So Chu just rolling back out there after his pit stop, and now we see even more drivers. Here comes our race leaders, as here comes Chris Gilbert, Nicholas Snyder, both down pit side. Nick Garner, Brandon Domingue down pit road, as well as Jason LePan in that beautiful Michael's Warrior Project number 20 ride. Ryan Peterson down pit road, as well as this is going to get very, very interesting. This is going to get pretty wild. Now we're going to really start to see some different strategies. Do drivers try to stay out a little bit longer, see if they can use those fresher tires here later in this run and try to leapfrog some people, as we do see the 76 of Jeremy Lucy, Jacob Grube down pit side. Here comes that 19 of Edward Koshersberger. So Koshersberger is down pit road as well, but we do see Kevin Winker, K-Dub, staying out for another lap here. So Kevin Winker potentially going for a big swing here out on the racetrack. Maybe trying to hope for a caution flag. Maybe trap some of these drivers a lap down. Maybe keep them back there behind them and keep them kind of trapped in a difficult position out there on the speedways. Right there in front of them is that 16 of Nick Garner. So there's only about 8 drivers, 7 drivers left on the lead lap as of right now. But there could be more. But nope, here you go. Kevin Winker, K-Dub, makes his green flag pit stop. So looks like that green flag run somewhere around that 35 to 38 laps of racing action before they come down pit road. So that means that we're going to see more and more drivers probably in about that same amount of time. Around lap 70, around lap 75, maybe 80 if they can get it that far. They'll be headed down pit road themselves. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see them make these pit stops, see if they can try to get some things rolling. As you do see that 75 ride. I believe that's the 75 down pit road. No, it's the 76 ride down pit road here. Looked like an extended pit stop for that 76 of Jeremy Lucy. Lucy just getting under power and rolling back out onto the racetrack. And I do believe a speeding penalty here for Jeremy Lucy. And Lucy will now be another driver stuck a lap down out there on the racetrack, as we do see Neil Lapidus, our boy in the OSOCOutdoors.com ride, rolling back out onto the racetrack. But Jeremy Lucy having that mistake down pit side, staying down pit road for an extended period of time here. And the 76 now finds himself a lap down as well out there on the racetrack. Kyle Van Tassel also a lap down. Frank Ranger Jr., he is now a lap down as well. And then we see Kevin Winker. Winker is now in the 14th position, and he is the last driver on the lead lap. So that puts Frank Ranger Jr., Kyle Van Tassel, Jeremy Lucy also on the lap down bracket now, and they are all in position to get that free pass here in the wave around above Neil Lapidus. So the tough break there for Neil Lapidus was seeing that green flag pit stop, seeing more drivers go a lap down out there on the speedway, and now Lapidus no longer in that free pass position. So that is a heartbreaker there for the 26 ride, especially as he's at risk of potentially going another lap down with the 45 ride. Our race leader Chris Gilbert right there behind him is Gilbert once again out in front of the field, leading the way here. He's got about a second between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Snyder sits there in position number 2 as Nick Garner right there behind him in that 3rd position. Brandon DeMing now up and into position number 4. As my boy Bruce Mielberger, the tower operator, coming in, showing the love over there on YouTube as well. Coming in saying hashtag Winker Nation. Cheered on K-Dub out there on the speedways. We did see Kevin Winker race his way up and into that 2nd position early in this race, and then fell back there late in that run. And then that little bit of a different pit strategy, trying to help himself out. Now has himself, close to potentially going a lap down himself here on the racetrack. So K-Dub gonna have to try to pick up the pace, try to keep those tires underneath of him, and see if he can try to keep himself on the lead lap. Maybe get a caution flag and get right back into the mix of things here with all the other lead lap drivers. As we do see Chris Gilbert continuing to lead the way here. Nicholas Snyder and Nick Garner starting to close that gap, as Gilbert having a tough time here. That OSOC Outdoors number 26 ride right in front of him. It's taking a little bit of the clean air off the nose of that 45, slowed him down just ever so slightly. Now battling door to door here with that 26, but going to be able to make that pass down and out of corner number 4. But you see just that little bit of side by side, even though there was quite a distance between the two of them. That allowed about a 2-second difference in lap time between Chris Gilbert and Nicholas Snyder. We'll have to wait and see if, see that 26 move out of the way of the 57 and the 16 as quickly as he did for the 45, or if he keeps them back there a little bit, maybe makes their day a little bit tougher here in the office, but quickly down through the corner, he's moving up the racetrack and out of the way there of Nicholas Snyder, but Snyder down the front straightaway, gonna see if he can try to use him as a little bit of a draft and down through 1 and 2, see if he can complete this pass. If he matches up with them down and out of corner number 2, it could slow that 57 truck up quite a bit as he's going to be getting a dump of dirty air onto the hood of his ride, and that's going to hurt him here on the lap times. And now starting to fall a little farther behind that 45 machine, so he needs to try to get up here and make that pass on the 26 in a quick hurry. But I know that Neil Lapidus does not want to fall any farther behind. He wants to stay up here and race with these leaders and see if he can try to get a lap back here himself. With the 45 starts to struggle, maybe the 26 can jump up and make that pass and put himself as only 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. It's out in front, Gilbert, Snyder, Gardner, 1, 2, and 3 with Brandon DeMing back there in position number 4. And now that's going to be very interesting, as right now that battle for the 5th and final spot in our Championship 5 is truly up for grabs. It is a tie right now between Brandon DeMing, Jason LePan, and Nathan Nixon for that 5th and final spot into our championship battle here, as 5 drivers will be eliminated. 5 drivers will move forward into our Championship 5 contention here this afternoon. So that means that right now, as things sit, Brandon DeMing is in that final transfer spot. He is currently the driver that would be transferring through into our Championship 5 if things were to finish right now. Unfortunately for Jason LePan, he finds himself about 6 positions back of that number 77, and Nathan Nixon, I believe Nixon is only a few spots back here, about 4 positions behind that 77 ride. With them being tied in points, they need to try to get up there, battle with the 77, see if they can use their strategy to try to leapfrog him and put themselves in front of them if they want to have an opportunity to race for this championship. And for a driver like Jeremy Lucy, who's a little farther back here tonight in this race, Lucy now, unfortunately, in that 76, that playoff picture is looking very bleak after, unfortunately, having that mistake down pit road, going a lap down, now no longer in the free pass position as well. Jeremy finds himself in a pretty precarious position as he is no longer kind of early in that hunt for that 5th and final transfer spot, having that early issue, but we'll have to wait and see if he can battle back from it. As out in front, we continue to see Nicholas Snyder trying to hunt down that number 45 of Chris Gilbert, as Gilbert out in front, continuing to lead the way. Gilbert there in the top spot with Snyder, Gardner right there behind him, Brandon DeMing back there in 4th, and Daniel Dow rounding out our top 5 here on the Speedway. It's some great racing action. Let's take a look here as our drivers give us the beautiful Peacemaker Gaming webcams here. Now, we do have one driver that has their webcam turned off right now. If they've got me, I don't know if they closed their webcam or what may have happened. Normally, we got Nathan Nixon with the webcam wide open, but right now, oh, there we go. I don't know why it's not showing me there in my other scenes, but it's definitely showing me here. There you go. You get a good look at Nathan Nixon out there. Let's see if we can get that other one rotated real quick. Let's rotate that other one. There we go. That's a little bit better. So in the fire suit, that is Jason LePan. LePan, he is locked in here this afternoon. He's got the racing gloves. He's got the fire suit on. I'm pretty sure I saw him. You can't quite see it in that frame, but I do believe he's got maybe a balaclava on or something there, fireproof balaclava, but you get Kevin Winker up there, the purple bluish lights there in the top right. You got Ryan Peterson as well. You can see the 2 bald guys in the league, the 2 chrome domes out there on the racetrack, not open to use their chrome domes this afternoon, and that's on the racetrack with their race trucks and not their foreheads here this afternoon. But Ryan Peterson and Nathan Nixon both giving us the beautiful in-car look right now, giving us a good perspective at what they're seeing, what they're doing out there on the racetrack, and trying to battle, trying to race out there with A lot of skin showing, man. That's almost too much skin to show at one time out on the racetrack. So we gotta hide these guys real quick, okay? I might get even deleted by Facebook or YouTube here, showing that much skin on stream. My gosh, I'm just kidding, boys. I'm just kidding. I appreciate all of them put on the driver webcams, giving us a really cool, immersive look here at what they're doing in behind the wheels of their cockpits here in iRacing as. You see our top two drivers. That battle at the front of the field starting to get closer and closer here. Chris Gilbert, only a truck length or so between himself and Nicholas Snyder. Now, no one's been able to catch up and drive around this 45 ride here this afternoon, but maybe Nicholas Snyder will be that first driver to race his way up and around that 45 here this afternoon. As you do see that 26 ride of Neil Lapidus. Lapidus, unfortunately, after that mistake early in this race, missing the start of this feature event. Showing like he's got some good speed here in this 26 ride. He's hanging right there with our race leaders. For a driver that finds himself a couple laps down, he's right there in the thick of things. If they start battling here for the race lead, maybe he can get around them and battle his way back onto the single lap down portion of this race and not be 2 laps down, as you do see right there in front of him. Nicholas Snyder able to use the inside lane, gets down and around that Jenks.com number 45 of Chris Gilbert. So for the first time here this afternoon, we will see a clean racing pass for the race lead, not during a green flag pit stops and seeing drivers stay out a little bit longer in leading laps. That was the first pass for that race lead here this evening, as Nicholas Snyder able to work himself up and around that 45 and take that race lead away from Chris Gilbert. And right there behind him, still trying to hold on and still trying to race his way back onto the lead lap, is the 26th ride of Neil Lapidus and the Osaka Outdoors 26 machine. And a little farther behind them, you do see Nick Garner. They're in position number 3. Brandon Domingue back there in position number 4. Jacob Grube there in 5th with Daniel Dow, Robert Blair, Nathan Nixon, Brian Chu, and Jason LePan. Rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway. Edward Kochersberger there in 11th with Ryan Peterson, Jonathan Herbert, Kevin Winker, our top 14. Then we see Jeremy Lucy back there in the 15th position, now in the free pass position for the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters, the HCK Beagles, number 76, right after his pit road penalty and having to come down pit road and stay extended time down on pit lane. The 76 able to race his way around Frank Ranger Jr., Kyle Van Tassel, to put himself now into that free pass position, as Ranger right there behind him in that 17 truck currently scored in position number 16. And also a lap down out there on the racetrack, Kyle Van Tassel a little further back down in position number 17 with 1 lap down in. And 2 laps out there on the speedway is that 26 of Neil Lapidus, but he sees our race leaders right there in front of him and he's stuck right there with them and hasn't really allowed them to run away with it here in this one. It's Albert Anderson. Albert coming in, showing the love not only over on YouTube, but also coming in, showing the love over on Facebook as well. Drop that thumbs up on the broadcast. I appreciate that, brother, as we are live not only over on YouTube and Facebook, we're also live over on Twitch as well. So if you guys haven't been over to our Twitch stream, make sure you guys hop over there, drop us a follow, and if you got Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free over on our Twitch stream as well. So if you guys want to become part of the Peacemaker sub club for absolutely nothing, absolutely free, take money out of Amazon's pocket and put a little towards helping us out here with the expenses at Peacemaker Gaming. Go over there, subscribe for free with your Amazon Prime, and you can become part of the Peacemaker family even more and help us out here on Peacemaker with those Prime subs over on Twitch. Is out in front at 57 Ryan, man, he is looking good. He's looking fast again this afternoon. I do believe he's looking for his league leading 6th win of this season. Already has 5 on the season. Next closest in that wins column is Jacob Grube. Grube has 4 wins here this season already, and then we have a few drivers with a couple wins, a few drivers with 1 win, but oh man, Nick Snyder, he has been a tough cookie here all season long. Same with that number 18 of Jacob Grube. Grube got off to a great start and then a very good, beginning to middle portion of the season, but that middle to late half so far has been this 57 ride. He really started to come to life and started to put these races together after struggling early on, and now being a part of the playoffs, having those wins in his back pocket, and also being able to have a lot of those bonus points and trying to race his way into that championship 5 and looking for that championship here this year as he looks to put one of those amazing drivers here that he's battled with all season long. Kevin Winker, a lap down out there on the racetrack. K-Dub trying to keep himself on the lead lap as of right now, but having our race leaders right there on his back bumper has got to be a very gutted feeling here for a driver that was battling at the front of the field, trying to get that race lead away from the 45 ride earlier on, and now trying to just keep himself on the lead lap is K-Dub there in 14th as Snyder on his back bumper. You see Chris Gilbert just right there as well, still with a striking distance of our race leaders. Here we go, Nicholas Snyder down low looking to drive around the 42 and put K-Dub as a lap down out there on the speedway. K-Dub able to drive out of corner number 4 though, a great head of steam, and he will stay on the lead lap for at least another lap here this afternoon as Snyder still sticking right there to his back bumper as the laps are counting down in a quick hurry here this afternoon. So 66 laps up onto the board here, so 65 laps completely coming to a close. We did see these drivers around lap 35 start to come down pit side for those green flag pit stops. So if they kind of cycle through the same amount here, another 35 lap area, you know, we're going to see them start to come down pit side in the next 4 to 5 laps. We'll start to see drivers head down pit road, maybe try to make some swings, or maybe drivers try to stay out a little bit longer, go to that 75, 78 lap area and see if they can use some fresher tires later in the run to help them out, maybe race towards the front of the field here as keep an eye on them, see who comes down pit road first here this afternoon as we'll get another good look here in and on the number 469 ride. Ryan Peterson out there on the speedway doing a great job, having a great run here this afternoon, finds himself right now in that 12th position. Let's see if we can get a look in here at Ryan Peterson and what he's doing out there on the speedway as trying to keep on working his way towards that top 10 as the Ridge Powersports KR Gutters HCK Beagles 469 ride rolls there in the 12th position. The car behind him is the number 17 of Frank Ranger Jr. So he's got quite a bit of a gap here between himself and his teammate Jonathan Herbert. Herbert back about 4 seconds in that 13th position. But right there in front of him, in a couple seconds away, is that 19 of Edward Koschersberger. As Koschersberger trying to keep himself there in 11th and continue to try to hunt down the top 10 here himself this evening, as right now between this 469 ride and our 10th place driver, which is Jason LePan, is about 7.5 seconds. So there's quite a bit of a gap here on the outside of our top 10, but in front the gap is not that big, and Ryan Peterson, he's hoping to see that caution flag, hoping to see things get tighter together and right back into the thick of things here this evening, and maybe have a little bit of truck left in the late in this race. Maybe see if he can try to work his way towards the front of the field here with a caution flag. We'll have to keep an eye on that number 469 ride. And looking at him out there on the racetrack, you see a lot of skin right there. The ball man up in that webcam above me here. Let's see if we can get another one in here as well and take a little bit of a look in on the number 33 machine and Nathan Nixon as Nixon roll out there on the racetrack as well. Let's see if we can jump on board here with Nixon and really get a good look here, not only in on the driver and what he's doing behind the wheel of the simulator, but now this truck is navigating that as well. You get a really good immersive look here at what these drivers are doing and what they're dealing with, as obviously you can see that truck in the screen, but you can also see him up there in the webcam trying to navigate around the speedway, trying to race his way up towards the front of the field. It really gives you a good look here on what these drivers see from the cockpit, what those triple monitor setups look like, or some of the drivers that run the, you know, the ultra wide 49-inch screen out there on the speedway. You really see what they're seeing, what they're doing, where they're really looking, and how they're navigating around this racetrack, trying to race their way into that championship 5. We're trying to race their way into victory lane as we have started to see a couple drivers head down pit side. So a huge thank you there again to our amazing drivers with those webcams turned on, as we do see Daniel down pit road here. So down. Coming down pit side, we do see Robert Blair, Brian Chu, Jonathan Herbert, some of the drivers first down pit road, headed back down pit side. Now we do see Nicholas Snyder, our race leader, Brandon Deming, Nathan Nixon, Jason LePan, all headed down pit side as well. And this time, Chris Gilbert, he's going to stay out for another lap here. Did not come down pit road with Snyder, so Snyder and that 45 ride racing at the front of the field. Now we see Snyder trying to pull some different moves here, see if he can try to get down pit side and not have that 40 ride with him. So a little bit of a different pit strategy there. A lap or two out on the racetrack extra could mean quite a bit of time, but could give you a lot of extra tire later in the run. So we'll have to wait and see how it pays out for either Chris Gilbert or for that number 57 of Nicholas Snyder, as we do see much more drivers headed down pit side, including that 45. Here comes Jacob Grube. Here comes Nick Garner down pit side as well. Ryan Peterson getting ready to roll back out onto the racetrack here. Neil Lapidus also down pit side, as we do see Kevin Winker still out there on the racetrack. K-Dub yet to come back down pit side here again. Same with Edward Koshersberger, as Kosherberger, he's going to head down pit side this time, but K-Dub staying out there for another lap here. Another interesting call for the 42. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out for him and see how much longer he stays out there on the racetrack. Last time, he stayed out until lap number 38, so he was able to complete 38 laps without coming down pit side. See if he can stretch that out a little bit longer, see if he can get closer to that 40-lap area, and see if this could potentially be just a one more stop race for this 42, where everyone else may be forced to still come down pit side two more times here this afternoon. So we'll wait and see if he can get it done, see if the strategy plays out here in the hands of the 42 of Kevin Winker this afternoon, as more drivers head down pit road. There's Edward Koshersberger down pit side here, as Kevin Winker continues to lead the way. It looks like he's going to stay out there for another lap at least, so at least another lap for that 42 of Kevin Winker. Some very interesting calls here. Now, we did see Winker, since his pit stop, even though he had the freshest tires between himself and a lot of the other drivers, he didn't really get onto the gas pedal. He didn't really run a ton of really fast lap times, and that unfortunately put him a lap down out there on the racetrack. But it seems like he's got a little bit of a different strategy going on here. Trying to save that fuel maybe out there on the racetrack, maybe trying to save those tires a little longer as well. Running a lot slower of a pace that put him a lap down, but maybe in the long run may pay off for him. So maybe a big swing out of this 42 ride, really trying to click off these laps, trying to stay out there and really throw a wrench into the strategy here of a lot of drivers, especially if we see this race go clean and green down to the end, as he has made it quite a bit longer, but unfortunately looks like lap 77 will be the number here for him. So he comes back down pit road here, completing lap number 77, as lap 78 goes up and onto the board. Really only virtually made it about one lap longer than he did on that first run. And I'm not sure how much of a difference that's going to make for him, or how much that's going to help him here, but we do see him quickly lose that top spot and quickly becoming at risk of going a lap down here once again, as the 57 of Nicholas Snyder, with those fresh tires, laying down good lap times. He is quickly rolling down and around corner number 4. K-Dub still down pit side, and as he comes back out onto the racetrack, he will have the freshest tires over everybody else, but being a lap down, now he's going to try to battle his way back up around our race leaders and a lot of our drivers inside the top 5, top 10 here. If he can maybe race his way back on the lead lap, as he just builds up the speed here. You do see Nathan Nixon get around him right there, and that puts Kevin Winker a lap down, and now would be around and behind the top 9 on the racetrack. So it's a lot of fast cars that he would have to try to race his way around to race his way back onto the lead lap here this afternoon, including our race leaders Nicholas Snyder and that 45 of Chris Gilbert, as Gilbert in a quick hurry here during that initial couple laps back out onto the racetrack has really been on the throttle, and he's been hunting down this 57 ride. Gilbert probably knows that he needs to try to keep himself out in front. That's probably where his truck is going to handle the best, and at the same time, wants to get their lean laps. He wants to be showing these drivers how to get around this racetrack and put himself in again to a position to win this race. But that 57 and Nicholas Snyder is not going to give this top spot back up very easily out there on the racetrack. As they battle nose to tail, they got about 3 seconds now between themselves and our third place driver, the 77 of Brandon Deming. As Deming rolls there in the third position, Nick Garner back there in fourth, Jacob Group now inside the top 5 is Daniel Dow. Robert Blair, Brian Chu, Nathan Nixon, and Jason LePan round out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're just a little over halfway in and halfway to go here for this main feature event, and we're going to jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here this afternoon as we'll crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Give it up for all these drivers. A beautiful crank-up section right there as they give us the sights and sounds around Kentucky Speedway here this afternoon for our 6th playoff race of the Michaels Warrior Project Truck Series, powered by HCK Beagles and all of our other amazing sponsors here at the HCK Beagles. As out in front, it is Chris Gilbert. Gilbert continues to lead the way here after jumping up, getting that race lead back away from that number 57 of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder actually starting to slide backwards here on the racetrack as Jacob Grube, Nick Gardner, Brandon DeMing all able to get around that 57 right and now put Snyder back into that 5th position. So a tough time here for that 57 as he's been sliding backwards out there on the racetrack as we start to see drivers head down pit side here for what could be their final pit stops of the afternoon. Lap 108 meaning they got about 32 laps, 33 laps left to go here where they can make it on fuel. They may have a few laps extra of fuel here to finish off this race, but if we do see a late race caution flag and a possibility at a green-white checkered finish or multiple attempts at green-white checkered finishes here at Kentucky, that means that those drivers may get very, very tight on fuel in a quick hurry, and they may have to come down pit side for another pit stop where that could use up their equipment, that could use up their tires and everything else here late in this race and really make things more difficult for them out there on the speedway. And if you're out towards the front of the field and you have to go down pit side during one of those green-white checkers, and you know that could potentially take you out of that track position and take you out of an opportunity to get a good finish or a checkered flag here this afternoon. As you do see the 45 still staying out there here, getting a few more laps out there on the speedway before headed down pit side. We do see Brandon DeMing and Ryan Peterson both head down pit side now as well. And we also saw Daniel Dow, Nathan Nixon, Brian Chu, Robert Blair, Jason LePan, John Herbert all come down pit side. Now we're seeing some more drivers try to stay out there for a little bit longer as Ryan Peterson down there. Here comes our race leaders. They're going to make that hard left-hand turn. They'll head down pit side. Here comes Chris Gilbert, Jacob Grube, Nick Snyder, and Nick Gardner all coming down pit road here. Snyder just able to get onto the binders, head down pit side at the same time as our other 3 drivers at the front of the field here. Brandon DeMing came down a lap before them here, so we'll have to wait and see how the 77 truck can kind of handle that difference right here, coming down a lap or 2 beforehand above the other competitors that he was racing with inside the top 5. Will it help him? Will it hurt him in the long run? We'll have to wait and see how this plays out and where that'll put the 77 right as the dust settles and all these other drivers start to roll back out onto the racetrack. Here you go, Chris Gilbert back up to speed. Here comes Jacob Grube right there with him. Nick Gardner back in 3rd with Nicholas Snyder back there in position number 4. But here comes Brandon DeMing. Came down a couple laps before him. He's up to speed already. Rolls down and out of corner number 2, and he will pass that 16 of Nick Gardner for that 3rd spot on the racetrack. So he was able to leapfrog the 16 machine and now closing in the back bumper here of our race leader, Chris Gilbert, and the 18 of Jacob Grube. And now out of corner number 4, they are up to speed. They are rolling on the racetrack. We'll have to wait and see if that gap, almost a second now, between Chris Gilbert and that 77 Brandon DeMing. It's actually been a second and a half difference between the 45 and the 77, and now having a couple lap older tires, maybe that wear and tear over those couple laps, trying to push the throttle down, trying to lay down the fastest laps that he could. Maybe hurt him a little bit, may have used up that equipment just a little bit where he may not be able to close that gap and chase those top 2 down later in this race, as they've been laying down some really good lap times here the last few laps. These drivers up towards the front of the field, as we see almost all of them there inside our top 5 run in the 32nd bracket. But Brandon DeMing coming down those 2 laps earlier was just over that 32nd bracket, ran a 31:01. So that means that he was a little bit slower that lap than our 2 drivers in front of him and the 2 drivers back there behind him. So unfortunately, maybe coming down that couple laps early gave him the track position into 3rd, but may hurt him on the long run here. We'll have to keep an eye on that 77 right and see if he can stay up here inside the top 5. As we do know, Brandon DeMing came into this race as one of 3 drivers tied in points for the 5th and final transfer spot into our championship 5. He came into the evening battling with Jason LePan and Nathan Nixon for that 5th and final transfer spot. They were tied for that 5th spot in their final ticket into the Championship 5 here this year. Now, the number 75, Robert Blair, he wasn't too far in front of them. He had about 8 points between himself and that battle for position number 5, but Blair has done a pretty solid job all afternoon, making sure that he keeps himself up there and towards the front of the field, and making sure that he keeps himself, you know, right there in contention where he can't really lose as many points as what he really needed to just lock himself in. And now we do know Nicholas Snyder, he's running here in the 5th position, came in as our points leader, still holding on to that points lead. Jacob Grube, there, he came into this race as our 2nd place in points. He rolls in that 2nd position, so he's looking rock solid right now, sitting there in that 2nd position. Nick Garner came into this race as our 3rd place driver, came in with a pretty decent gap between himself in the battle for 5th, so he's sitting pretty rolling there in position number 4. So the battle really truly is down to Brandon Deming, Jason LePan, and the number 33 of Nathan Nixon. Unfortunately here for LePan, he finds himself back in the 10th position. Nathan Nixon, he's there in 7th. He's actually trying to make the move around his teammate there in the 2 right of Daniel Dow for position number 6 on the Speedway. So he's still a few trucks behind that 77 ride for that 5th and final transfer spot into that Championship 5. So biting a potential caution flag, or the 77 truck really falling off here. You know, the 33 ride's in a tough position. He needs to gain almost 6 seconds on that 77 of Brandon Deming. Either he's got to race his way up there, or the 77 ride has got to fall back to this number 33 if Nixon wants to be able to make that pass and try to beat Brandon Deming for that final spot in our Championship 5 here this afternoon. As man, definitely some very interesting races, some very interesting runs for a lot of these drivers out there on the racetrack. And drivers like Jason LePan and Nathan Nixon, their opportunity to keep their playoff dreams alive, their championship hopes alive here this afternoon from Kentucky to go into that 2-race championship battle with our top 5 in points. Their time is quickly running out there on the racetrack as Chris Gilbert continues to lead the way. Going to click off another lap here, and we see only 21 more laps left to go out there on the racetrack. We're inching closer and closer to 20 laps left in this future event, and they're going to fly by in a quick hurry. But we do see Jacob Grube right there battling for position at number 1 on the racetrack. Grube has closed the gap back in on that 45 of Chris Gilbert. Does Jacob Grube have something left in the tank? Can we see this 18 ride come back and battle one of the dominant race trucks here this afternoon in Chris Gilbert for the race lead and for what could be a potential big win here this afternoon? As Grube, I know he's pretty much locked into that next round. He's sitting pretty right now, but being able to go into that final playoff round as a race winner once again, and tying, you know, Nicholas Snyder with the most wins on the season. As right now Jacob Grube has 4 wins, that 57, and Nicholas Snyder has 5 wins on the season. I know Grube would love to get another win, tie it up with the win column, and potentially leapfrog Nick Snyder as the number 1 seed going into that final race. As they were separated by about, what is that? 6-7 points, about 7 points between Nick Snyder and Jacob Grube for that final, or for the top spot here in the seeding for our Championship 5. So jumping up, maybe taking the win away from Chris Gilbert, seeing Nick Snyder back there in 5th. Potentially some bonus points for winning the race as well. Could potentially leapfrog that number 18 ride around Nicholas Snyder and put Jacob Grube as the top truck to beat in that final round, and put him as the number 1 seed in our next round of the playoffs. So it's going to get very interesting here. And now I know a lot of these trucks, I do believe the points are going to get nullified. They're all going to be basically at 0 once again for that Championship 5, and it's going to be a heads-up race into that 2-race battle for that championship. But coming in with that momentum, coming in with that extra little chip on your shoulder, knowing that you won the final race of this round, could really propel this 18 into a championship here this year. And now it can't get more fitting than that. Jacob Grew potentially winning the championship here in the Michaels Warrior Project Truck Series. Sponsored truck out there on the racetrack. Can't get more fitting than that. To be able to jump out there and our main sponsor on his ride and him finding the 18 truck away into potentially a fifth win here this evening, or potentially racing and picking up that championship here in a couple weeks time. Could be a massive deal here for the 18. So I know he's got that in the back of his mind, knowing that he wants to be that driver in that driver's seat, making the right moves, kind of controlling that final stage of our playoffs. So he's still sticking right there on the back bumper of Chris Gilbert. Gilbert trying to hold on to that top spot here, looking to try to run his way into a very good drive here in Kentucky, show that he's got some good speed and some good talent here once again this afternoon, as I do believe this would be win number 2 or 3 now on the season for Chris Gilbert. This would be win number 2 for Chris Gilbert. I know he wants to find victory lane once again out there on the speedway, and now being that driver at the back of the championship 10. You know, he's had some tough luck in these couple of races here in this second stage of our playoffs, but to be able to finish it off at least on a high note with a checkered flag would definitely make Chris Gilbert feel that much better. As out in front, Gilbert still leads the way. Jacob Group sticking right there with them. Only a couple truck lengths between our top 2 drivers. They got about 2.7 seconds between themselves and Nick Gardner. Is Gardner back here in position number 3. Brandon Ming, he's there in position number 4 with Nick Snyder there in 5th. And then we see Nathan Nixon back in position number 6. And he's battling here with Brian Chu. Chu trying to jump up here and take that 6th spot away from him. Nathan Nixon still trying to hold on to it, as he did have about 6 seconds of a gap between himself and Brandon Domingue. That gap has now grown to almost 8 seconds. So unfortunately, Nixon really hasn't gained any ground on the 77 of Brandon Domingue out there on the racetrack. But, you know, mathematically, he's only a couple spots shy of that 77 truck in their battle for that final position in our championship 5 here this evening. The 77, the 33, and that 20 rider Jason LePan came into this race tied in points, knowing that they just needed to beat one another to really work themselves into that championship battle here this year. And so far, Brandon Domingue's done a very good job in consistently up inside the top 5. We did see Nathan Nixon up there for a little bit, fell back to about the 10th position there for a while, but now battling just on the outside of the top 5 looking in. But unfortunately, still just a couple spots shy of the 77 of Brandon Domingue for that 4th, or for the 5th and final transfer spot into our championship hunt here this afternoon. So biting a caution flag or something catastrophically going wrong for the 77 of Brandon Domingue. He should be on cruise control here for the rest of the afternoon, as out in front, Chris Gilbert was hoping to be on cruise control, but now having to try to play a little bit of defense as the gap has shrunk even more, less than a truck length here between our top 2 competitors on the racetrack. Chris Gilbert has led pretty much every lap. He's led a ton of laps here this afternoon at Kentucky Speedway. Been very fast, and the only truck that's been able to pass him out there on the racetrack was the 57 of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder scored back now in the 5th position, but Jacob Groove has came on strong here late in this race, and he's sticking right there to the back bumper of this 45 line and putting the pressure onto the back bumper of Chris Gilbert. And I know Gilbert wants to pick up this win, but boy, oh boy, so doesn't Jacob Groove, as they're going to duke it out here in our closing laps for this race win, as we hit just under 10 laps left to go. Only 9 more laps left out there on the speedway. Is another absolutely amazing race here by the Michaels Warrior Project Truck Series HCK Beagles rides here this evening. These drivers came out here 140 laps of racing action was up for grabs here. A lot on the line. Obviously a win, obviously a lot of playoff implications here throughout this race. We haven't seen a single caution flag Zero caution flags. We're now 132 laps into this 140 lap race, and we haven't seen a single yellow flag out there on the racetrack, just giving you a testament on how good and how talented these drivers are behind the wheel of their race trucks out there on the speedway. Not giving an inch, continuously battling a lot of door-to-door, a lot of 2-wide, 3-wide racing out there on the speedway. In multiple green flag pit stops here, and we're yet to see a single truck get turned around, get pointed in the wrong direction. Not a single yellow flag here for these competitors this afternoon, just showing you how talented they are and how good the racing is here with the HCK Beagles and the Michaels Warrior Project Truck Series. And if you guys want to become part of it, if you guys want to jump in on the action, Season 7 right around the corner. If you guys want into the action, if you guys want to become part of the HCK Beagles Truck Series, message myself or message one of our admins here today, or join the Discord for the HCK Beagles and become part of this series. Whether or not you want to become part of it as a racer, or if you want to become part of it as a sponsor, get a hold of myself or one of our admin crew or the league owner, Gregory Turner, and figure out and see what you can do and how you can help us here and become a sponsor of the HCK Beagles and become part of our 7th season here, as this race has 5 more laps left to go. 5 more laps left in this race here this afternoon, and man, oh man, oh man, each and every one of these laps is a nail-biter for that 45 rider, Chris Gilbert, trying to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake. He can't have a bad run out there on the racetrack. He needs to be able to keep himself here at the front of the field, make sure he can keep himself in contention for this win, as he wants to put himself into victory lane. He wants to get the dub here this afternoon and doesn't want to hand it over to that 18 machine here this evening. There's 4 laps left to go here in this one. Who will get it done? Who will find their way to victory lane? As down into corner number 1, the 45 gets in there a little deeper. Then Jacob Groove, that actually opens up a couple truck lengths there. That may be what he needed to try to keep himself in front of that 18 machine to finish off this race, as it's down between the two of them. About 5 seconds back, you see Nick Gardner. Gardner trying to hold on to position number 3 here, as Nicholas Snyder going to roll around him for that 3rd spot on the racetrack. They're going to battle door-to-door back here for 3rd, as Brandon Domingue right there in position number 5. Robert Blair back in position number 6 with Nathan Nixon. They're in 7th. They're unfortunately on the outside of a transfer spot right now, looking in, as Brandon Domingue looking to try to pick up that 5th and final transfer spot into our Championship 5 here this evening. As out in front, Chris Gilbert, nice and easy, down at corner number 4, down across the line. He will click off another lap, and we see 2 laps left to go here this afternoon. Only 2 more laps of racing action here from Kentucky Speedway. Chris Gilbert has been dominant here all afternoon. This 45 truck has been blazing fast, and he is looking to try to put it up and into victory lane. But one more charge coming from the 18 of Jacob Grubin's group, already bound for that championship battle here in the next couple weeks. But he wants to be up here in victory lane as well, battling, trying to hunt down this 45 right, got right through his back bumper, and only 1 more lap left to try to get something done here. But a couple truck lengths down into corner number 1. Once again, he's going to have to try to run a picture-perfect lap to try to get back to that 45. As Chris Gilbert, for the final time, down the back straightaway, leading us here down and into corner number 3. The 18 has closed the gap here. He's right there. He takes a look down low, but Chris Gilbert shuts the door, keeps that 18 back there behind him as they round corner number 4 down the front straightaway. It's Chris Gilbert in the Jegs.com number 45 truck who will find victory lane here at Kentucky Speedway. Chris Gilbert getting the job done in picking up the 6th playoff win race of the season. So Chris Gilbert getting it done. Unfortunately, it's not when you're in the 45 ride, who was a part of our Championship 10, will unfortunately be eliminated here this evening from the playoff championship battle, but picking up the win, showing that he still has that speed, that he's a threat out there on the speedway as he picks up his second win of the season. Unfortunately, a little too shy here of picking up that fifth and final position into that championship hunt. As Jacob Grube coming home in second behind him, he will be a part of that championship 5. Same with Nicholas Snyder and Nick Gardner. Also, Brandon DeMing coming home in position number 5. DeMing has locked himself in now as the 5th driver of our championship 5 here this afternoon, and coming home there in 6 is our other driver, a part of the championship 5. It's Robert Blair, Bobby Blair, coming home in that 6th position, putting himself into that 6th spot, having another good solid run for the 75, and he finds himself also a part of that championship 5. So other than Chris Gilbert, our championship 5 coming home 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th here this afternoon. So if you remove that 45 ride from the picture, our top 5 in the championship hunt over the next couple of weeks are all virtually inside the top 5 if you get rid of that 45 machine. Absolutely shows you how good and how consistent these drivers are to be able to get themselves into this position to race their way into that championship hunt. And now we see the points go back down to 0. Everything that's happened here over all the 20 races beforehand are out the window, including this one. It comes down for those 5 to these final 2 races. Who can get the better of each other in each of these next couple of races, or have a big enough gap going into that 2nd race where they can try to pick up this Michaels Warrior Project Truck Series Championship in Season 6 of the HCK Beagles. As we'll get ready to jump down pit side, we'll get ready to jump up into victory lane with our race winner Chris Gilbert, but also our 2nd place driver Jacob Grube and our 3rd place finisher Nicholas Snyder, as we'll get ready to pull them up and into the broadcast booth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get some congratulations up into the chat here for Chris Gilbert this afternoon, picking up the dub, as we'll get ready to pull him in to the broadcast booth. As Albert Anderson says, I think you would have been okay if a couple of cautions came out. It's hard to get caught up when the race goes caution free. Yeah, unfortunately, definitely tough to really get caught up or gain ground or really have an opportunity to race with lead lap drivers and other competitors out there on the racetrack when the race goes green to checkered, in which case just shows you, man, the talent and the tenacity of each and every one of these competitors, and just how good they are out there on the racetrack, man. 140 laps of racing action, zero caution flags after 140 laps of racing here this afternoon, man. Just shows you how good these drivers are and how amazing the HCK Beagles Truck Series is. As K-Dub says, I just suck, laugh out loud. K-Dub, come on now, brother. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. That's just a tough race. You took a swing at the start of the race, a little bit of a different pitch strategy, pushing a little bit harder early on. Unfortunately, just didn't quite pay off for you there. As Canuck Gamer says, let's go Peterson. Cheering on Peterson out there. How are you, Canuck Gamer? How are you doing this afternoon? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful day, coming in showing the love here in this one. As, man, some absolutely amazing racing action. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys haven't yet, make sure you hit the like button, hit that share button, hit that follow or subscribe button. Become a subscriber over on our Twitch or Facebook streams. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker Sub Club there on Twitch or over on Facebook, or join our members group, our members club over on YouTube. Hit the join button over there, become part of the members family, and help us out with the month-to-month expenses here on Peacemaker Gaming, and help us continue to do what we do up here in the broadcast booth. As K-Dub says, thanks, Albert. I was trying some crazy fuel and hoping for one caution, but I had nothing to lose, I guess. Laugh out loud. Yeah, you got nothing to do, unfortunately. It's Nut Gamer says, doing good, my dude. Just finishing up my dinner while I watch the race. Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. Man, what'd you have for din din? What'd you have for din din, brother? As Nut Gamer says, Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year to yourself as well, man. Happy New Year's. Hopefully, nothing but amazing, amazing things to come for you in 2025. Nothing but good health, good family, good friends, and some pretty cool fun activities as well in there. Spice things up, make some good fortune, maybe a couple lottery wins for our viewers in there as well. And, just an amazing 2025 and years to come as well, as we'll get ready to pull our top three up here into the broadcast booth. Chris Gilbert, our race winner, waiting down pit side. Let's pull him up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Chris, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Aaron.
Chris, man, what a run, what a drive for you, man. The dominant truck pretty much all afternoon. There was only one driver that was able to jump up and pass you here this afternoon during the green flag racing, and that was that 57 of Nicholas Snyder. But you use a couple different pitch strategies there. You find a little something later on, and you're able to grow that gap between yourself and Snyder. But all of a sudden, Jacob Grube right there on your back bumper through those closing laps. I know you want to find your way into victory lane. You want to finish off this second round of our playoffs here on a high note after having a couple tough last races. And here you are, being able to finish it off, holding off Jacob Grube and putting yourself back up here for the second time into victory lane this season.
Oh yeah, that honestly got pretty stressful. I knew Jacob was overall probably a little bit quicker than me. Same with Nick. But yeah, I couldn't give anything. Like, I needed everything I get. I had to win. I had to dominate this race to even have a slim chance of making the next round of playoffs, which I don't think I did. But yeah, either way, it feels good to actually put together a full race and do everything right for a change. I haven't done that all season. I messed up every race.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely been a tough season for you. We've obviously saw you pick up a win early in the season, and then we see you pick up this one as well. And, I mean, I would still say it was pretty dominant, man. I don't know how many laps you technically led, but you had to be up there towards the, triple digits, 100, 120 laps led here this afternoon. You were in front for a lot of it, and even though, you had Jacob back there behind you, you had Nick getting around you there for a little bit. 45 truck, man, was fast all night long, and you were right there in the mix, and you were able to be in the right place at the right time, and you pick up yet again another checkered flag.
Oh yeah, that clean air, that qualifying, I don't remember, a couple of blocks, first couple of laps. One of them was a little bit questionable, but I feel like that was kind of a game changer there. Keeping that clean air was so big in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping that clean air, keeping yourself out in front pays dividends here in this one as you're able to get it done and pull yourself up and into the Kentucky Speedway victory lane here. Chris, who would you like to thank for such a great run and great race here this afternoon?
Now I want to thank Gary Turner for letting me in this league. The whole HCK Beagles, the whole crew is awesome. And then Michael's Warrior Project as well. So.
Well, Chris, a great run, a great drive. I'm not sure how the official standing shaped up, but I do know that those drivers that were battling there for those final, spots into the championship were all right there behind you. So I think it's going to be very, very tough for you to leapfrog them, even with any bonus points from the win or not. But, man, so far it's been a great season for you, man. A lot of ups and downs with being up here and being able to battle here inside the championship 10 and pick up this race win in that final championship 10 race. Definitely shows that you got a lot of speed, a lot of talent, and definitely going to be a threat here for season 7.
Yep, find out here in a little bit. So thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. Enjoy the rest of your night and don't party too hard down there in victory lane.
No promises.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up there once again for our race winner, Chris Gilbert. As Gilbert picks up the win, gets that checkered flag here at the beautiful Kentucky Speedway. We'll get ready to pull in our second place finisher here. Another great run, another great drive for Jacob Grube as he comes home in position number 2. Let's pull him up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Jacob, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Loud and clear.
Jacob, man, another very solid run, another great race here for that Michaels Warrior Project number 18 machine as you come home again in position number 2. So close to picking up your 5th win of the season, but you're able to settle in there in those closing laps into that 2nd spot. You're trying to put the pressure on the back bumper of Chris Gilbert. Unfortunately, he doesn't make a mistake, doesn't give you an opening there, and unfortunately can't get around him, but it would have been all for naught as you're able to work yourself now into that championship 5. You're going to be able to battle over these final 2 races and try to be crowned as the season 6 champion here with the Michaels Warrior Project Truck Series. Man, take us not only through this race, but what's going through your mind right now, knowing that you're going to get an opportunity to race for that championship.
Yeah, what it's all about, right? Continue to move on and compete for the championship. So yeah, lots of fun racing tonight. Congratulations to Chris for that win. I Going into this after doing some practice, I figured it was going to be mostly a tire saving kind of race. So that was my strategy, just kind of not push too hard and save the tires, be there at the end of the fuel run and start making positions. And that's kind of what happened. Would make positions up and then we'd pit, and then some of those guys would get past me. But then, towards the end of the long run, I'd make up that ground and then some. So that's kind of how my race went, and just didn't have enough at the end to pass Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Just didn't quite have enough, but you were right there on his back bumper for a few laps, just hoping that he would slide up the racetrack or make a mistake out there. Unfortunately, never saw it happen, but you were able to put the pressure there onto him and come home with a very solid run here in our final race of round number 2 here of the playoffs. Jacob, great run, great drive. Congratulations on that 2nd place finish and the ticket into the championship 5, man. But who do you want to thank for another great run, another solid performance here this afternoon?
Hey, I just want to thank my team. We've been putting the practice in not only for this, but getting ready for the Daytona 24. So we've been burning at both ends, just trying to be prepared. So thanks to them. That really helps to be able to practice with them. Makes us more prepared on race day. So thanks to them, and thanks to you and Michael's Ward Project.
Beauty. Well, Jacob, a great run, a great race. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Tuesday and hunting for that championship. Good luck out there, and hopefully we'll see you a couple more times this year up here in the broadcast booth.
Okay, thanks, Aaron.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 2nd place finisher, Jacob Grube. Grube coming home here in position number 2. Another amazing race, another amazing run by the Michaels Warrior Project number 18 machine as he'll get his ticket into that championship 5 here for the season finales next week and the week after. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great racing, and seeing those drivers duke it out there for that championship as we'll get ready to pull in our 3rd place finisher here this afternoon, and another driver going to that championship 5. The number 57 of Nicholas Snyder. Snyder able to come back here, making some late race passes, getting around Brandon Domingue and Nick Gardner, and able to work himself up and into that 3rd position, and also working his way into that championship 5 here this afternoon. Let's pull Mr. Snyder up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Nick, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Nick, man, another very solid run, another great race here for that 57 ride as he came in knowing that all you needed to do was just have a good, clean run, and you were going to be a part of that championship 5, and that's exactly what you do here tonight, even after showing a lot of speed there throughout the middle portion of this race, being the only driver able to race up and pass that 45 of Chris Gilbert during this 140 lap festivities here this evening. And after that, you kind of fell back behind him, and then you slid back a little farther here, but late in the race you jump up, gain a couple extra positions, and put yourself back up here onto another podium finish heading towards that next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, first off, congratulations to my teammate Chris. He ran one hell of a race. Unfortunately, I think winning wasn't enough. Not too many drivers had too many mistakes. Sucks, but he had a up and down season, and just wish it would have turned out better for him. So yeah, I mean, other than starting second, we ran pretty well the whole race, and towards that end of the run, I just kind of messed up the fuel strategy there, and just had I thought I had a save, and I turns out I didn't. So my math sucks. Um, Other than that, it was a pretty fun race. Kind of mad at myself just because I took myself out of contention, thinking I had a save to be able to make it. For some reason, I was thinking around lap 30, 32 laps you could run on a tank of fuel, and turns out it was like 3 or 4 more laps later.
Yeah, definitely a tough break there. Obviously, just thinking maybe a little too far forward, or just maybe thinking maybe towards next week in that championship as well. Obviously, a lot of things going through your guys' minds out there behind the wheel and under the pressure of the racing action. And fortunately, took yourself potentially out of this race win, but still, you lock yourself into that championship 5. How does it feel knowing that you're going to be, one of 5 drivers contending and having the ability to win this season 6 championship?
It feels pretty good, but the top 5 is pretty tough. So I mean, any one of us is given to win. These next 2 races, I don't have to be clean, and there's absolutely no room for error. It's just kind of all take, but you just got to be smart with it, and just give what is given.
Absolutely, and just a testament on how tough that final 5 is really going to be. If you look at our, second to 6th place driver here this afternoon, you're completely surrounded by those 5 drivers, with Jacob Grube just in front of you, and then Gardner, Domingue, and Blair getting those final spots in that championship hunt right there behind you as well. So just showing that it's going to be very, very tough here over these next 2 races. How do you got to, get into these runs? How do you got to figure out a way to keep yourself in front of them to where you can pick up that championship?
Yeah, it all starts with qualifying, really. Just if you start up front and just stay up there, and you just get yourself out of that trouble that potentially could happen mid pack, or even in second. It's like I said, it's gonna be just all kind of all give, but at the same time, you just got to take what is given to you. Um, just you can't just go bombs eyed and thinking it's gonna stick and then slide up. I made a couple dumb moves this season like that, um, but you just live and learn, and uh, it's just what these next 2 races are gonna be.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be a lot of fun to watch. We can't wait to see you guys back in action here next Tuesday. But, Nick, who'd you like to thank for another great run and another strong performance here this afternoon?
I just got to thank my team. Chris and I were pretty good teammates, and we help each other a lot during practice and stuff. So it's like I coach him, he coaches me. So that's a huge help and a helping hand there. Just like to thank everybody that took the time on a Tuesday night to watch the race. Hopefully, it was a good race. I know it was exciting from my seat, and you know, thank you to you, Aaron, for taking your time out as well, and the whole HCK admins for dealing with all of us drivers.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Nick, a great run, a great drive here this afternoon, man. We can't wait to see you back out there in action for our first race of that Championship 5 here next week.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up there for Nicholas Snyder. Snyder comes home in position at number 3. A great run and a great drive there for the 57 ride this afternoon. As talked, man, Brandon Domingue snagging that 5th and final position into that Championship 5. We saw, last week's winner, Robert Blair. He ends up getting his way into the Championship 5 here as well. So we're going to see Jacob Grube, Nicholas Snyder, Nick Gardner, Brandon Domingue, and Robert Blair duke it out for the next 2 races here to settle out who will be our champion here in Season 6 of the HCK Beagles Racing League in the Michael's Warrior Project Truck Series here in Season 6. As man, some great racing action. Those first 20 races are now kind of in the history books for those 5 drivers. They've just got to focus up and know that they can get an opportunity to be crowned our champion here this season, and that is definitely a giant accolade for each and every one of them to kind of carry on their shoulder and on their chest to be able to jump into any server and people know that they were that champion of the HCK Beagles here, and that they can earn that respect, that title, and potentially look to back it up in the next season. As I'm going to get ready to pull in Kevin Winker. Winker, one of the main admins here with the HCK Beagles, a great ambassador here for the entire league, and we're going to pull him up here so we can talk a little bit about Season 7. As Season 7 right around the corner, and these drivers, they're going to be getting signed up, and they're going to be getting ready to battle again and try their hand at another season and another opportunity to race towards this moment in time right here for them to have, maybe in 6-7 months from now, have that opportunity again to race their way in for the championship in Season 7. Our new drivers to try to battle their way into that championship fight here, where we may not even see one of our top 5 here from this championship 5 in the next championship 5. You never know how the season will play out, who will be there, who won't be, and who may be the best competitors out there on the speedways. One of them could be my boy Neil Lapidus. Neil coming in, show the big love again. Neil coming in with the 55 biddies over there on Twitch, showing the big love again here in this one. Hey, at least this time he didn't send any biddies while he was driving out there. He wasn't donating and driving on the racetrack, but my boy Neil, I appreciate you coming in, showing the big love here this afternoon with the donations, as we'll get ready to pull Kevin Winker up here into the booth and have him talk a little bit here about our 7th season with the HCK Beagles. Hey, KW, you got a copy?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Kev, we want to pull you back in here, brother. Let you talk a little bit about Season 7 and things to come here for the HCK Beagles in Season 7 here, as I got the schedule up and the Discord link up there as well for people to join in and become part of the HCK Beagles family.
Yeah, we're looking to start up Season 7 here beginning of March. March 11th to be exact. Still recruiting some people. We got about 20 signed up right now. Got a pretty good mix of tracks, some road courses, short tracks. We're gonna switch up the playoffs for next season, do 3 rounds each instead of what we did this season. And then if we can get some sponsors, we're gonna have some extra incentives for guys to race all season. I can't spill the beans on that yet because it's still in the works, but if we can get some more sponsorship secured, that will hopefully keep more guys around, towards the end of the season. Because obviously when people get eliminated, they don't feel like racing. I mean, I race whatever just because I like racing, but some guys don't like doing that. So we're gonna try that, and yeah, if anybody's interested in joining, you can just join the Discord and then check out the chats, sign up, and then go from there. We're gonna have a league-wide meeting early February just to go over everything and finalize all that. Get our ducks in a row for that. But and then if anybody's looking to sponsor, get their business out there, as always, you could contact me or Aaron or Greg about that. And look forward to another great season here. But first, we got to finish off Season 6 and crown champion.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple races left here in Season 6. It's going to be wild to see those drivers in our Championship 5 duke it out and battle and see who can pick up that championship here in the 6th season of the HCK Beagles Truck Series and the Michaels Warrior Project Truck Series here this season.
Yeah, I think you announced the final 5s, but just going back over again, it's going to be Nicholas Schneider, Jacob Grube, Nick Gardner, Bobby Blair, and Brandon Doming. Those would be your 5 battling out the next 2 races, and it's going to be an even playing field, so the points reset. There's no, bonus points for wins or anything for previous rounds, so it's just straight up dogfight. Just 2 races. Who can have the best finish and the most points in those 2 races, and that would be your champion. So it's definitely going to be interesting to watch. Wish I could be part of it, obviously, but I definitely didn't have the playoffs that I wanted. I had a really good regular season, just had bad luck and whatever in the playoffs, but it goes like that sometimes. But yeah, I think I got my pick that I think who's gonna be the champion, but I don't think I want to spill the beans or jinx him yet. So we'll go with that. And I don't know, are we at Texas next week or Homestead? I don't even know. I don't know which one we're at. But either way, next week should be another fun one. And then yeah, as always, just a shout out to all the guys that come in here every night and put on the show. Tonight was awesome. You know, no cautions. I mean, that's pretty rare in a league race. Granted, it's a mile and a half, but usually I have at least one or two. That's what I was calling my strategy. I don't know what I was in my strategy, but I was going all up front, and then I tried to save fuel, and then I was running as long as I can before I ran out, hoping a caution came out. It just didn't happen, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, I'm not in the playoffs, so I'm not really trying to go out there and run for basically points. I was just trying to get a win, but it doesn't work like that, you know, sometimes. But we'll go into the next week, and hopefully we can finish off the season strong, and then we'll start up season 7.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we can't wait for the final 2 races here to see how the championship will play out. And then obviously we are looking forward to coming back here and being the voice up in the broadcast booth for Season 7 of the HCK Beagles and seeing these drivers and new drivers out there duking it out once again, trying to just get to maybe this point and trying to race their way into the Season 7 Championship 5, where, you know, 5 more drivers will have an opportunity to pick up another championship here next year.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be another first-time champion, because I think last year the only guy that made the final round would have been Nick Gardner. Everybody else is new or didn't make it last year, so we're going to be crowning another new champion this year, which is going to be exciting. You know, it's always, you don't want to see the same guy win the championship, so that's going to be exciting to crown a new champion, and they're definitely going to earn it, obviously, because they got to, you know, have all their P's and Q's and their I's dotted. So it should be a good final 2 races, and hopefully it's a good one to watch.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we look forward to it. Kev, thanks for hopping in here, and we'll see you back out there on the racetrack next Tuesday.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we'll give it up there for Kevin Winker as K-Dub coming in here, giving us a good heads up, and I look forward here into the future with the HCK Beagles in that 7th season, where if you guys are interested in getting into the action, join that Discord there on the bottom of the flyer, or jump in and join, you can shoot me a message, I can point you in the right direction, or message Kevin Winker or Gregory Turner and become part of the HCK Beagles here for the next season coming up here in, you know, just a very short amount of time, man. We're going to be back in action for the 7th season, but we got this championship still to hang out. So next couple weeks, our 21st, 22nd race of the season, and our season finales here coming up as our penultimate race next week, and then that final race in that championship battle coming to a close here in 2 weeks' time. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, man. We can't wait to see these drivers back in action. But listen, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in with the love here this afternoon, all the likes, the comments, the shares, any of our new followers or subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough for being a part of the Peacemaker family and tuning in and watching it and cheering on these amazing drivers here this evening from Kentucky Speedway. Unfortunately, that will do it for us here this afternoon, and I'll see you guys all back in here tomorrow for some more racing action, some more fun festivities here on Peacemaker Gaming, and some more action as well. But I'll see you guys back in here tomorrow night. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll see y'all later. Peace out for now, baby. Peace out for now, ladies and gentlemen.
Trucks flying through the night, NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight, peacemakers gaining light so bright. Rev it up, feel the pace, speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase, victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste, in this high-octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights, the engines scream, this is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam, race NASCAR dreams within our sight. Asphalt heroes in the fight. Peacemakers gaming light so bright. Rev it up, feel the pace. Speed hounds in the race. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place. Thrill the place. Thrill the place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. Feel the thrill, feel the chase. Victory is our holy place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Throttle down, no time to waste. In this high octane haste. In this high octane haste. Every corner, every taste leads us closer to first place. Under lights the engine scream. This is more than just a dream. Through the asphalt like a beam. Racers' hearts with fervor gleam. In this game we find our might. Push the pedal like the night. With each lap our spirits flight. Racing on with all our might.